Ah, haha. How's it going, people? What's happening? How's it going, folks? What's happening? Ladies and gentlemen, how are you today? How are you today, ladies and gentlemen? Can tell you now, it's going to be a much happier player ratings. How quickly things can change, in a few days in football, man. Man, oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the post-game player ratings match reaction with your boy CJ from the Gunners Corner. After Arsenal for, or should I say, let's go in proper chronological order. Spurs 1, Arsenal 4 in the North London Derby. 4-1 to the Arsenal, went to the shithole, went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whatever the hell they call it, and dealt with them for the fourth year in a row. Happy days. As you can see, you may not be able to see obviously, but I do have my jacket on still, loud and proud. The Arsenal, the old crest. Come on, the old A classic. Um, just got home from the gatherings Resto Bar out here in Toronto. Watched that with some fellow Gooners. Big, nice community over there. Definitely go check it out if you're around in the area. But we watched that one together just because of the occasion of the game. So I just got back in now and still buzzing, as you can see. So this might be in the brief stint we've been doing the post-game player ratings and match reaction. This is probably going to be the funnest one yet. Again, there hasn't been many so far, but as we continue to roll these on, you're going to get some good ones, some not so good ones. The last one was a little bit of a Debbie Downer because we dropped 2 points to Wolves, as you guys know. But this one is going to be a much more fun player rating segment. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Where do I even start? I mean, we're shooting straight off the hip with all these because again, this is immediate, and this is what's good about the post game player rating reactions, doing it almost immediately after the game. It's it's raw, it's emotional, but we do try and add a little bit of a little bit of logic and intellect in there for you as well as the raw emotion. So, what a brilliant game, man! What a game! What a way to bounce back. Um, the boys needed that. There was talking, a lot of talking in the build up to this one from the likes of the manager and Declan Rice and so on and so forth, but they delivered on the pitch. I mean, this is exactly what we needed. We questioned their title credentials, but um, one game at a time at this point, right? And what a way to bounce back. One game at a time, steps in the right direction with this one, and hopefully we start as we mean to go on in this run-in. Okay, so where that leaves us now is 5 points clear. With a game in hand. City obviously won yesterday, beating Newcastle 2-1 at home in a narrow margin. So this one's going down to the wire, folks. I mean, shit, did we expect anything else, really? Arsenal's first potential title in 20 plus years. Do we ever think it was going to be a walk in the park if we are to win it? And, of course not. This is going to be a roller coaster, a heartache, a headache, all the way right up until the very end. So one game at a time, right? We'll continue on as we are at the moment. 5 clear at the top of the table. Again, game in hand, but it still looks okay at this moment in time. It still looks okay. Let's see where we go. But let's enjoy this one while we can, definitely, because it's always nice to win a derby match, especially in this fashion. 4-1, same result as the return fixture at the Emirates earlier this season, and a couple of the same big performances from certain players, but we will get into it. David Raya in goal. Didn't do too much wrong, really. He didn't have much to do. The goal wasn't really his fault. It was another individual's fault, which we will get into. So you can't really mark David Raya down too much. I'm gonna give him a 7. He came and collected his crosses really well. We've been critical of him in recent weeks about him being a little bit too hasty when he collects the balls out of the air and the game is in play. And he did it again today. Actually, there was one time I think in the second half, one or two times, one time in particular that I can remember where he just rolled the ball out way too quickly. Oh, and the goal in that moment was to relieve pressure, and kind of settle the game down, slow it down. We had the lead at that point, and we want to kind of slow the game down and um keep Spurs at bay, right? They had so whenever they go on the attack and they have the ascendancy with that home crowd, you want to kind of cut out any of that, right? Any potential rhythm that they could get into and intensity and pace when they're, especially when they're the ones chasing. So sometimes in those moments, David Raya, I think, needs to chill a little bit and just keep the ball for a little bit longer, take the sting out of the game. But nonetheless, I think overall collected crosses really well. And so I'm going to give him a 7. Contrary to last player ratings when I was in a bad mood, I'm in a good mood. So let's, maybe some of these ratings might be a little bit inflated, but we'll give it to him. It's North London Derby. We won at their ground. David Raya gets a 7. Urian Timber at right back. Now he got booked in this game for what I thought was a stupid foul. He had a mixed first half, I thought. Some good, some not so good. The not so good was some of the stuff that I feel like we've been starting to see creep into his game in recent weeks. You know, the poor decision making, not the greatest going forward, being out of position in transition, and the foul he gave away. Um, at the time, I was cussing and I was saying it was kind of a stupid foul to give away. I mean, I didn't think the guy was going anywhere. Was it Sarr in midfield who was running away with the ball in the middle? He didn't have much going on for him at the time. Sarr, when he was running with the ball, he was going to run into our center backs, and I didn't think Timber needed to commit that foul, which led to him getting a booking. It is what it is. It didn't impact him too much for the rest of the game because he um, got an assist in the second half for Gyökeres' first goal. Timber got the assist for that technically. And then he obviously managed to settle himself for the rest of the game. Came off quite early in the second half, came off in the 57th minute for Christian Mosquera. And I think that was a sensible decision from the manager. One, because obviously Timbers looked a little bit fatigued as games have gone on in recent weeks, but also again beyond the booking. So smart decision from the manager to take him off. No problem with Urian Timber overall. I'm gonna give him a 6. The assist boosts his rating, to be honest with you. So I'll be sensible and I'll give him a 6. Um, Gabriel, sorry, Gabriel, because I think he was again the standout of the two center backs. Maybe I think Gabriel always seems to put himself in the limelight, one way or another. Hairy moments when he's wrestling with strikers and contentious moments in the box. Now, in the second half, Kolo Muani, he scored a goal, which would have been his second goal in the game, but it was disallowed by the referee, and I think rightfully so. Because what happened was Kolo Muani put two hands on Gabriel's back, which sort of halts Gabriel's momentum from jumping to sort of get first to the ball in the air. And I personally do think that that's a foul. I don't think that that's enough to be overturned by the VAR, right? It's not a clear and obvious error. I mean, it's people debating it either way. Call it which way you will. To me, that's a foul because, like I said, Gabriel's getting ready to jump and just sort of head that away. But as his momentum is heading towards that direction of jumping, Kolo Muani puts two hands on his back, right? And for me, obviously, that's a foul. Two hands on the back. As a player's getting ready to jump, I think that's a foul. Call it soft, call it whatever. But that's just I don't have any problem with that call. You know, um, yeah, I don't have a problem with that call. But anyways, like I said, Gabriel does get himself involved in a lot of those moments. I noticed, in the first half, Kolo Muani, I think he was wrestling with him again in on goal. Um, that both players tumbled, running back towards our own goal. Both players tumbled. Kolo Muani stays down, holding at his chest or stomach area, claiming Gabriel might have hit him or whatever, or like, caught him when both players fell in that moment. But I didn't see anything in that either. So, but it's funny enough that it's always Gabriel in these situations, right? Um, but anyways, again, Gabriel, he doesn't show, he never hides or shies away from being in the limelight, Gabriel. So, um, or being in controversial moments. But I was happy enough with his performance, held it down at the back. The goal that we conceded was not his fault either. Had a solid enough performance, I think. I'll give him 7.5. 7.5. And I'm gonna give Saliba the same. I mean, they did good enough. Um, Shut out any threat. Um, but they didn't have a lot to deal with in terms of, them troubling us, right? That's why I struggled to give them higher. Gabriel and Saliba higher than like a 7.5. And I am going to give them a 7.5. We do 7.5s and 0.5s generally on this channel for player ratings. That's fine. So I'm going to give both Gabriel and Saliba 7.5 because similarly, Saliba I felt was more quiet in terms of, being in talking points or controversial moments in the game. Saliba wasn't involved as much in that. Um, but again, they didn't trouble us too much. But go to their ground and hold it down to the back and be steady and firm in your approach play. Good enough for me. 7.5 for Saliba as well. Hincapié, man, I feel like he's having another good game and a good run in the team at the moment. I'm happy with with what Hincapié is doing. Yes, he could be a little bit better on the ball going forward. Sometimes he does look a bit hesitant in decision making when we're in attack, but not doing too much wrong at the moment. Was in trouble too much on the defensive side, but again, we're playing a stinky Spurs team, man. Like they suck. How bad are they? Jeez. Um, but anyways, you still got to play what's in front of you, and I think Hincapié again, part of this back line who held it down today. So I'm gonna give Hincapié 7.5 as well. Seven, like why not? If I'm being consistent with the others, wasn't troubled, like I said, really at all. And I think, won his duels, didn't really make any errors too tough. I think overall Hincapié had a really good game as well. 7.5. I'm happy with what he's doing at the moment. Steady, solid, passionate, one-on-one defender as well. Good in his duels. So yeah, good enough performance from Hincapié. 7.5. Zubimendi. Again, you're away from home. You're going to a tough ground, a derby. It's feisty. It's fierce. I'm gonna give Zubimendi a 7. Again, not marking him down based on anything he did wrong. But I mean, I didn't think, yeah, he wasn't involved. Sometimes when they say when you don't see a player, right, or see a midfielder stand out, that means, it doesn't necessarily mean he had a bad game in the position that, he plays. Sometimes as the sitting midfielder, the number six, sometimes if a game passes you by and you're not standing out, I mean, you've done your job, you're keeping things ticking, you're keeping the flow going. So he didn't stand out either way. Wasn't spectacular, wasn't poor either. So I think I give him a 7. Kept things going in there, but it was a better game from Zubimendi this game. Good enough in there. 7. Declan Rice, he had a mixed game. Saw all the stuff come out before the game about him and the interview he did with Sky and sort of, putting that message out there for the team to be calm and embrace the challenge and embrace the title race, right? This was immediately after the Wolves game. He did sort of an interview with Sky, did Declan Rice. For me, still the leader and the captain of this team. I think he should be the captain. I think he should have the full-time armband over Gabriel, over Odegaard, over whoever, Saka, whatever. That's just my opinion. But nonetheless, I think yeah, in this game, again, after giving a speech like that and sort of calling for calm and calling for the boys to rally and go and do the job, for him to make the mistake that leads to the goal, the Spurs' goal, you don't see that too often from him. It was really poor. Definitely should have just cleared his lines instead of trying to be cute. Um, but it didn't cost us at the end of the day. And everyone is entitled to one, or what I mean, one or two. Obviously, the difference at the top level is those who make the fewest mistakes. And the consistency is what brings you at that world class level or top midfielder level if you want to be in those conversations. So Rice can't have too many more of those mistakes if he wants to be considered top tier and go on to win leagues and win trophies and be the man. But yeah, he recovered well for the most part in the game. Recovered pretty well. Um, so I'm gonna give Rice. What do I do? Because again, in the second half, it was mostly where he redeemed himself. He made a lot of good last minute, not last minute, but like a lot of crunching, typical Declan Rice challenges where he gets his foot in, recovers well to win the ball back, and nicks it off players who are running with the ball. Um, he's so good at that, Rice, just winning the ball back for the team and relieving pressure, and he did that a few times in the second half, man. And I think that saved his overall rating. So I think if I gave Zubimendi a 7. I'm gonna give Declan Rice 6.5 because that mistake could have been costly. Man, I don't mark Deckers down too much, but again, he recovered well in the second half, which brings his rating back up. So I have to be fair, right, to Zubimendi because Zubimendi didn't make any mistakes per se, and I gave him a 7. So Declan Rice with that big mistake that could have cost us, can't give him the exact same rating as Zubi. So I think I'll give Declan Rice a 6.5. Could have been better, Declan Rice, but for his high standard, but 6.5. Let's get to the more attacking positions now. Bukayo Saka came off towards the end with a knock. Hopefully that's all it is on the ankle. I hope it's nothing serious. Hopefully he rests up because we're going to need him next week for Chelsea. But I think Bukayo Saka did well in this game up against Jed Spence. Van der Ven had to come over at times to also deal with Saka. And I think overall, he was causing problems as he always does. He was crucial in part of the first goal that Eze scores. Um, Definitely did more of his damage in the first half than the second. I mean, saying that he did have a couple of chances in the second, a couple of chances to shoot. He can tell Saka's looking for that goal. He wanted a goal in this game. Didn't come for him in the end, obviously, but he was dangerous as he always is, and I'm glad he's back to playing out on that right hand side. I do want to see more flair and creativity from him when he's one on one. What makes him unpredictable is that he goes left and right because he's good on his right foot. But I need more trickery and skill from him to beat a defender. That's what I want to see more from Saka personally. Um, but again, he's always in the mix. He's always in the wars. I think he's a brilliant player still, Saka, and I want to see him get back to his best. But I was happy enough with his performance overall, so I'm going to give Saka a 7. Leandro Trossard on the left, he was winding me up in the first half because I think he was doing silly things, a little bit too casual on the ball, losing it a little bit, giving the ball away. Um, Yeah, so it was a little bit sort of an annoying Trossard performance to start. Out of all our options at the moment, I still do trust him on the left wing more than the likes of Martinelli. I mean, sometimes I would like to see Eze there, to be honest with you, more than we have been seeing him, um, which is interesting. But I mean, so long as we're not using Eze at the left in the moment, Trossard and Martinelli are our options. Trossard for me I still trust him more than Martinelli. So, um, but yeah, overall, I mean, Trossard came off in the 70 something minute. Um, I'm gonna give Trossard a six. Six. Again, didn't do too much either way. You know, gave the ball away, like I said, a couple times, one too many times for my liking in the first half, or lost the ball rather. Um, but again, part of a team that won. I'm in a good enough mood, man. We'll give Trossard a 6 and we'll keep it moving. Wasn't his best game, wasn't his standout, but he did okay. Wow. Now, these last two ratings in the starting 11, I mean, this is what, you pay the big money for, and I'm so happy for the two of these players. And we'll start with Eberechi Eze, man. I think I'd also like to say, if I didn't mention this already, I think my pre-match prediction with the starting 11 that the manager was going to go with, I think was spot on to a T. So a little pat on the back for myself, but everyone I predicted started the game. And that being said, what a way to repay the faith in Eberechi Eze's case, man. He loves playing against Spurs. Loves playing against Spurs, clearly. Um, I'm so happy for him. 2 goals. Took his first goal really, really well. The first touch and then bang, that sort of volley into the back of the net. I'm so happy for him. I love Eze, man. I love him as a player. I think he's brilliant. I think he's got so much to his game. Um, and he's a confidence player, as I said, the manager put faith in him. You got to put your arm around these kind of players and show that you have faith in them and trust them. And I think you keep him in the team now, right? Why take him out? You can't take him out. Keep him in the team, give him a run, keep him going, keep him confident. Eberechi Eze, man, I'm so, so happy for him. And you can, again, when you see him on the ball, his weight of passing, like, he just one of those naturally skillful and intelligent players. Again, like I said, weight of pass on the ball, his touch, his technique, the way he glides with the ball. Um, Again, you just see what a player, when you see him, and you don't want to see that more often. Not, again, we're grateful that it's against Spurs, um, because two games against Spurs and you have scored 5 goals total. I mean, can't complain. And it was more than the goals because again, especially when he's confident and his tail's up, in the second half, we saw a nice little nutmeg, I think was on Paulinho in the second half when Eze was down the left channel. He got up on the ball a lot more in the second half. Shame that he had to come off, wanted him to get another hat trick in the same season against Spurs would have been amazing. Um, but we were causing them problems because at the time we were leading and they have to come a little bit more forward. It opens up spaces for the likes of Eze. And in transition, we were getting on the ball a lot. We were, Eze was running through midfield, dishing the ball, feeding it out wide to the likes of Saka, Gyökeres. And I think the way Saka, Gyökeres, and Eze combined it for Eze's second goal, um, I loved that goal. Just the combination play. It was nice, man. I'm glad that Gyökeres was part of that because we always criticize him for his lack of hold-up play or link-up play. But anyways, I think yeah, that I loved Eze's second goal. I loved his first goal even more. But yeah, man, just the stuff that Eze was doing in this game, like that's what we want to see, and we need to keep him in the side going forward. I think it's only fair and it's only right. Um, but yeah, Eze, if you got the hat trick, it's probably a 10 out of 10. But I'm gonna give Eze a 9. Um, I'm gonna give Eze a 9 in this game, to be honest with you. So happy for him. So, so happy for him. He needed that. My man of the match, personally, I think he was given to Gyökeres, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, for me, it's Eze. for me, it's Eze. Because, like I said, not just the goals that he scored, but the stuff that he was doing, and when he was getting involved a lot more in the second half and getting on the ball and feeding players and looking dangerous every time we went forward in the second half was down to him, Eze, I believe. So, but now the other man, who we spent big money on in the summer and delivered in this game is Victor Gyökeres, man. First of all, I'm going to say his rating off the cuff, very close to Eze's 9, but I'm going to give him an 8.5. I mean, that second goal came at a 4-1. Sorry, the fourth goal in the game, right? When the game is dead and buried. Um, so, I think that, the man of the match for me was a little bit too much. Like I said, I think Eze deserved it on the balance of overall play, but no, man, Gyökeres again 8.5. I think just under Eze in terms of overall performance level. Like I said, the second goal, they both scored two in this game, but Gyökeres' second goal is the fourth goal at a time where Spurs is dead and buried. And take nothing away from Gyökeres' finish, though, man. This is a guy who, again, who's been criticized many times this season, not scoring enough goals, not doing enough. And it wasn't just the goal that Gyökeres scored in this game; it was his overall play. Definitely his overall play. He linked up a lot better in this game. Was getting himself involved and putting himself about. And in the first half, he missed the chance that went just wide when he picked up the ball in the left channel, which is something he loves to do. That's his bread and butter. Pick up the ball in the left channel off the shoulder, cut in on your right, and then yeah, he put the ball just wide of the post, Vicario's post. And he probably should have scored or hit the target at least. But at that moment, I said, yeah, something he feels on in this game. It feels like he's on it. Um, but yeah, no, I was happy with what he was doing, and again, I'm so glad he got the goals in the end. He deserved them. Um, his first goal, like that's what he can do when he gets the chance to finish. More often than not, he will convert. His conversion rate is really good, and he's clinical. That strike, that finish, man, he's a sharp shooter, and we need to see it more and feed him more. So I'm so happy that that's probably one of his better goals since he's come to the club. Because it's not a stinky little tap in, like that's a proper finish from range, low into the corner. The keeper has no chance with it. So we've seen Aubameyang score a similar goal in the Derby as well, to be honest with you. So very happy for Gyökeres. Two goals in the Derby. Forever that's going to be with him. No one can take that away from him, away from home in the cauldron of the Spurs ground. Um, and again, like I said, his overall stuff was good in this game as well. 8.5 for Gyökeres. Off the bench, I mean, a few of these you can't really mark too much. Madueke, came on the 90th minute. Can't really give him a rating. Standard 5. Odegaard, he got an assist in this game, Odegaard, and he came on and did what he needed to do. He came on in the 77th minute, so the assist boosts him up a little bit. I'll give him a 6. Um, Martinelli, standard 5. Um, Mascara, I'm gonna give him a 7, man, because he came on in the 57th minute, came on at right back. So still a lot of the game to play, right? In the 57th minute, that's most of the second half. Came on at right back, didn't put a foot wrong, man. He's such a good young defender, this guy Mascara. Um, is crucial to our squad already. He's showed it in heavy minutes so far this season. Slightly out of position, one would say, playing at right back, and he came in solid. Nothing got past him, calm and on the ball. So Mascara gets a 7 for me. And the manager picked the team that we wanted to see in terms of the starting 11, the one that I predicted at least, got his sub spot on. Interesting that he used 4 subs again in this game as opposed to 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, one, two, three, four. Yeah. Um, so good use of the squad, good in-game management, tactically spot on. Didn't, panic when Spurs equalized and we went on to deal with them and win 4-1. Good lineup, good subs. Trust in certain players like Eze and Gyökeres, and won the game. And Spurs are shit, man. Let's be honest, Spurs are shit. But we did what we needed to do. We needed to bounce back as a team, as a club, and we did that today. So good response. I'm gonna give the manager. Um, yeah, I did nothing wrong really. I'm gonna give him an 8.5 as well. Just because, Eze needs a solo rating for a 9 to be the standout guy. I think, yeah, I did give Eze a 9, right? Deserved the 9. So, Eze the standout in the ratings. Mikel Arteta 8.5. Could have used a fifth sub, but didn't. But it's fine. We'll give him a good enough rating. 8.5 for the manager. And that's it. We move on. Full week's rest now. On to Chelsea next weekend. Proud of the boys. Good response. Will it be enough in the end? Wait to be seen. But today we'll enjoy this one, right? North London is red. We knew that already. Come on, you Gunners. This has been CJ from the Gunners Corner with the post-game player ratings. And yeah, we roll on. Tonight we're recording again with Laurent and Murdad for another podcast. Stay tuned for that one because this is the build-up now to the Arsenal Chelsea game. Another one this season. It feels like we've been playing them a lot. Um, and so friction on the pod, right, with Laurent being a Chelsea fan. So stay tuned. I'm sure you're going to enjoy. Me and Murdad are going to have our tails up a little bit of confidence after today's win. So yeah, stay tuned for that podcast. It's going to be a good one. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe for us. It really, really, really does help the channel. And we'll keep rolling the content on for you. But onwards and upwards, let's get it. Come on, you Gunners. We are out. Bye bye.